Hey, boys and girls, we are live today on January 29th, 2021, with the new president. I like the new president. Man, he's working. He's doing a lot of stuff. I guess his approval rating is higher than Trump's ever was already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right to the politics.
That gotta hurt. Yeah. I'm sorry.
It was the highest approval rating for a new president, maybe since Reagan or something. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
And in creationist news, Standing for Truth gave up trying to defend creationists. I mean, he and his Maddox are happy living together in Hawaii. Thank you. Good night.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I believe that's him in the thumbnail. So I guess he's not hiding behind his SpongeBob SquarePants Superman avatar anymore.
Wait, is that really him? Is that supposed to be Standing?
That's him.
That's him. That's Stanley.
That is the man. He came out of the closet last night, so
he kind of looks. I mean, I understand the Superman avatar now because he does kind of look like Clark Kent. But I mean, and he doesn't look like a troglodyte or anything. I mean, so I don't understand why he's so against evolution, because it looks like genetics did him a favor. I mean,
yeah.
Let's see here. So Standing for Truth out of the closet. But the interesting thing about this, I thought, now I predicted this stuff 6 months ago, 9 months ago.
What do you mean out of the closet?
Out of the closet. You can see who he is. He's not in his closet anymore. So.
Oh, that usually has a connotation that somebody came out as gay. So I was like,
"Oh, that's so fucking yesterday."
He's probably going to start his traveling ministry to other churches now.
That's what that's what I predicted. Is that this guy is okay? You'll notice that it's fucking 3 a.m. and he's got a suit coat on and a dress shirt.
Wait, is this serious? Why did he get on camera? I'm so confused.
Because this is part of his evolution.
Can we play some of this?
Ooh, Sarah My Trees. Love that guy.
Yeah, we can in a minute.
Make it bigger?
Huh?
Like,
can I make it bigger? No. John, you're going to have to live with what you got. Oh, you mean the video?
Yeah.
God damn it. I just got
that. That's all right. I mean, but that's okay because I can comb my hair with my tongue.
Let's see. I'm working on some stuff here. So how is everybody today?
I just need to hear that standing voice coming out of that face right there.
Yeah, I know, right? I don't believe it's him.
I mean, does he have excited? I mean, I don't see a tie though.
No, he's not wearing a tie.
Critic.
I mean, if you look in the dictionary under hipster doofus, there's a picture of him.
Love you, Standing.
Oh, my headphones are actually working. Okay, so I think this is the beginning.
Is Standing for Truth.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm muted. I'm muted for myself, but not for you guys.
I mean, I heard the video when you started it.
Oh, shit. Now I unmuted that.
And this is going to be the first episode in a series of short clips titled Independent Origins Moments. Okay, so I'm really excited for this. They're going to be short, just 2-3 minute clips going over the most common arguments from the critics and providing you guys quick rebuttals and quick responses to these objections and criticisms. You'll quickly realize that most of these arguments are the result of a straw man or simply a misrepresentation. So in this first...
Foreskin.
Are you mad about straw man too?
No, I'm just thinking if he's really going to do these 2-minute rebuttals, he's making our job so damn easy.
I know. I mean,
it's like little busting bites, you know.
Yeah, I don't believe he's capable of a 2-minute rebuttal.
Well, that's what I was thinking too, John.
Like, yeah, I mean, isn't Standing's usually just like getting warmed up after 2 minutes.
Well, this one was 5 minutes. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and then something we were watching with him in it the other day, some timer went off because I guess he was debating. And he said, well, I guess my time, here, let me wrap it up. And then he went on for like 5 more minutes.
Yeah. It's pretty funny. Let's see here.
Yeah, him saying straw man, him saying is like the most ironic thing I've heard in a while.
Well, no, it's just that he doesn't even use it properly. He doesn't even use it right. I mean, a fucking straw man argument is if I misrepresent your model or your argument and come back at you. And he keeps saying that we're doing that, and he never actually makes the case for that. So it's ridiculous.
I think that what he thinks a straw man is that, and not only is he wrong about what the straw man is, but what he's considering the criteria for a straw man isn't even happening. I think he thinks a straw man is when someone attempts to rebut or refute your argument,
right?
And they're not right, in his opinion.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Yeah,
it's just ridiculous. But okay, are you done foreskinning? Half skin?
Yeah.
Episode of Independent Origins. We are going.
What the fuck? Are you kidding me? Come on, stop it. Stop doing that.
Independent Origins moment number 1.
What?
Adam Eve.
What just happened? Oh, okay. So we went right to that. What the fuck?
Yeah, I guess the Origins moment is at first, and then he expounds on it.
Oh, okay. That's what.
So yeah, start it right from the beginning.
Okay. So, well, no, we don't. No, he doesn't actually give it until where the hell was I?
Why wouldn't you hear what he said at the beginning?
He didn't really say anything at the beginning. He launches into his intro, which is 2 minutes long. So we don't want to do that. I think we were about right here, right?
I mean, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
Long process of genetic mistakes.
No, we were earlier.
From the assumption of evolution.
No,
we're too much genetic diversity in humans.
Earlier. What the fuck?
Episode of Independent Origins, we are going to deal with a common objection. We've all heard the straw man argument that attacks the biblical Adam and Eve by asserting there is far too much genetic diversity in humans today.
Yeah, that's the way he's using it. He's saying that.
Yep,
we're wrong, so he's calling it a straw man. So he needs to look that up. Stanley, please go Wikipedia, look it up on the wiki, and figure out what the fuck. Because he used it.
I was going to say, while you're at it, look up equivocation and look up, what was the other one? Oh, look up what an allele is.
Yeah, he should look that one up. That would be good. Anyway, okay.
To have all come about by just 2 people 6,000 years ago. Well, this is a common argument that starts from the assumption of evolution and the assumption that all DNA differences and DNA diversity essentially is the result of mutations over time. This long process of genetic mistakes and mutations that add genetic diversity.
Okay, calling that an assumption is really fucking stupid.
Now that's a straw man.
I don't know what the hell that would be. It's really stupid. I mean, we know that DNA mutates. Okay, we have a lot of evidence for the age of the Earth, and therefore you put those two things together, and it's not a fucking assumption; it's evidence. So.
If DNA didn't mutate, how do you explain albinos? We're literally a genetic mutation.
How does he explain the 7,000 animals on the ark turning into fucking millions?
I mean, I just want to hear.
I know.
I just want to hear him explain how the ark had 7,000 animals on it. I'll just accept that.
Yeah, that would be. Or is it 7,000? I think they packed 7,000.
I mean, okay. Here's a question: how many people can Ken Ham's ark fit?
I don't know.
Yeah,
the ark that he built.
Yeah,
I don't think he even built it to scale, did he?
Yeah,
he did.
It's to scale, supposedly. Yeah.
I mean, they had to have added some to the qubits because they have to have don't they have like a gift shop and place to eat and all that stuff too?
Yeah, okay. So Creation Myths points out that he is not, he's claiming his model is that there's created front-loaded, he's calling it front-loaded diversity now instead of created heterozygosity. He's invented his own term, I think.
From generation to generation. In fact,
oh, for Christ's sake, what is going on here? I'm paying for a fucking gigabit.
So what? You're just doing this off of streaming right off YouTube?
That's off Chrome. So what the fuck?
I mean, turn down the quality.
Oh, can't do that.
Yeah, you can.
I can't do that.
I mean, dude, you just click the three dots up here and you can take it to like down to 480p or something, depending on what you're streaming at right now.
I don't think that's going to help. Something else is going on. So we're not breaking up or anything. Experiencing interruptions. Find out why. What? Xfinity Comcast in Bloomington. What the fuck? What are we paying these people for? Jesus Christ. Anyway, find out why. Jesus. Well, that's an interesting. I've never seen that come up before. Have you?
Yeah.
Hold on a second here.
I think you just need to refresh YouTube.
Yeah, I know, but then then it's going to do the lose its place thing on me.
Well, but
independent origins
place it's on
from generation. There is good reason to believe that the majority of nuclear DNA is in fact the result of created nuclear heterozygosity.
No, there isn't.
Now, what this means is that God would have front-loaded Adam and Eve with pre-existing design diversity. In other words, this argument that suggests that there could not have been a literal Adam and Eve simply because creationists would then have to invoke mutation rates that would be fast enough, they say.
So
this has been purported actually by...
All right, so first of all, there's another term he doesn't know because he said that, what did he say? That there's good reason to believe, like, no, you don't know what that means either. And then for some reason, hearing the words come out of his face, he makes me think that he's even stupider than I gave him credit for. I don't know why that is. I mean, I think maybe it's because he looks like a reasonable person, and then all that unreasonableness is coming out of his mouth.
Yeah.
No, he looks like a hipster. That's why.
He looks like, well, he's a minister in the making. The ministry has started.
Honestly, if I just saw that dude on the street, I would probably say 75-25 that he smokes weed.
You think? I mean, it looks like he'd sell me something. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the way it looks to me. Okay, let's see what else he has to say. And then I had a little argument with Immutable on the phone earlier about what I'm going to show you next. But
oh boy.
Biologos such as Francis Collins,
what does he speed himself
Dr.
up for?
Vanema in the past. They'll say that these mutation rates would have been fast enough to mutate humans to oblivion. Yes, if all DNA differences are indeed the result of mutations over time, which the evidence suggests they are not, then it would certainly be unfeasible. It would be impossible to explain people today all originating from just two people through mutations, okay? But these critics, these arguments coming from the critics actually argue against what's called evolutionary creation. This is a straw man.
Okay. This is just such bullshit. Do you have anything to add, David? You just came into the stream.
Wow.
No, David's muted. Anyway, he's it's just okay. He's the one that came up with the term rescue device, or the creation. Some creationists did, right? This is exactly what they're doing here. I mean, rescue device is something that they invented. It's something that they use. We don't use fucking rescue devices because we don't have to rescue things because nobody's out to prove evolution in their papers because everybody already accepts it. So you got to understand that he's the one that is, his rescue device is that somehow God stuffed all of that diversity into Adam and Eve. And we'll take a look at how they might have done that. I don't know.
So
This is a
Go ahead.
no, I mean I was going to say, yeah, it's rescue. Like what? I mean, I think,
Yeah, rescue device.
yeah, I think you need to rescue your own worldview. The rest of it.
Yeah. He's mixing up the words critic with geneticist. Anyway, pretty hard to do the math without the data. They've never actually quite laid out the data for this created heterozygosity, but anyway, we'll move on. It's not too long.
misrepresentation. They're coming at it from their basic assumptions that all DNA differences, that all genetic diversity has essentially come about through mutations over time. This is not what we propose.
Is that
as
really an
generation,
assumption, though?
okay? If Adam and Eve were front-loaded with designed nuclear heterozygosity, there would be no problem at all in explaining the world's genetic variation in just a few thousand years. God could have essentially front-loaded the genome with as much variation as he wanted to. But in reality, God would have only needed to front-load Adam and Eve with 20 million variants. Humans could have then lost, let's say, half at the flood bottleneck. And still, there would be enough genetic variation to explain today's diversity today. Add in mutations over time, and what we see in terms of allelic diversity.
All right. See, here's the problem with all of it is that he can make all those claims he wants. And from his worldview and the people that he shares worldview with, that can all make perfect sense because God is supposedly all powerful. So he could have, made evolution any way he wanted to. But and God could have even, like when they talk about the age of the universe and stuff, God could have even set it up so it looks like to us that, it's old, or, looks like to us that this is the way evolution worked. That's why you can't even argue with these people, because they're this thing that they believe in supposedly has the ability to do anything.
So when did created heterozygosity pop up? Do you know, David? David's still muted. David's here.
Yeah, he came in and posted in the private chat, and
David is he's with us right now.
Right, and I'm saying in the internal private chat, he has posted, and we've exchanged messages, and I think he came in to maybe make an internal point that he didn't want to share with the audience, so I'll let you...
Oh, okay, I get it. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Anyway, David, your comments would be welcome.
Yeah, but,
Okay. It was Jensen and Carter and Sanford. So there's some interesting things, like they started talking about this Eve sequence, and there's a paper by Carter and Sanford from 2013 where they talk about Eve 1.0, where they used Mendel's accountant to create what they think is, they actually have the mitochondrial sequence of Eve. So they actually think they built it. What did he say?
No, I'm
Yeah.
just laughing. I'm just laughing at the side chat. It's
Natural
private.
processes. Oh, you mean? Oh, okay.
Oh, private chat, yeah.
Oh, in private chat?
Holy shit! Trust me, I've had the same feeling for months.
Oh, okay. I just saw it.
I had the same feeling for months.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Of this we shall not speak publicly.
I mean,
Yes,
I think I've made.
that right there in the private chat, that's the Volkswagen of comments. Yeah.
Okay.
Jesus.
I'm surprised Speed hasn't killed me yet.
I'm sending out pink slips right now. fucking signing pink slips. Okay, wait. Stick with created hetero to the end. It's such a okay. Okay, let's go a little further.
In terms of allelic variation, all perfectly explained through the front loading of Adam and Eve.
Front
Genetic
loading.
variation. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Allelic.
It's representation.
Anyway, okay, so that was his little blurb.
So basically, just invent a genome or a human DNA to be the way you want it to be, and say that it degraded over time.
Yeah, except it doesn't fucking work. And now I have had private talks with him, and I explained to him why it doesn't work, and he seemed to agree with it and understand. And yet he goes out and produces these same lies over again. I don't quite understand that. Do you? I mean, if he knows how it works, okay. So here we have one strand of DNA, right? And right alongside of that, we have another strand of DNA. Okay, so there's another one. That's a little too fat. Fuck that. I'm going to undo that. And I'm going to do it in blue. Okay, so we have another strand right here, right?
Worst
So
fucking
to me,
I've ever seen.
huh?
Worst fucking helixes I've ever seen.
John, pink slip. Pink slip. Fucking fired. Twice. Okay. So anyway, so this is the X or the horizontal direction. Okay, I want to explain something here. Now he's claiming that for every variant, like, oh, okay, so along a genome, we will have a section of the genome, that codes for a gene, and we can call that an allele. Okay. So in any one person, is that too? How the fuck? I don't know. I fucking spelled it wrong. Okay, I'm failing really bad here.
Yes, you are.
Somebody fucking help me. Help me.
No thanks.
Anyway, so you have one gene here, okay? And we'll call that an allele. You can only have 2 copies for one fucking human being. So Adam could have 2, and Eve could have 2. So at most you could have 4 variations for that allele, okay? And it's allele, I believe, like that. Okay, you can only have 4 possible variations. But what Stanley thinks, and what he's trying to say, is that he thinks that there are more alleles this way in the vertical direction. He thinks that somehow that, like, if that gene coded for, say, insulin, he thinks there are 20,000 of them stuck here in Adam. And somehow, through recombination or gene conversion, as he says, these will end up down there and create variation. Do you understand do you guys understand what I'm talking about? He is stacking it. He's stacking it vertically, and he's hang on a second. You guys talk for a minute. This is important.
I think Speed just fired himself.
Yes.
Kind of makes me feel kind of unimportant.
What's that?
It kind of makes me feel unimportant.
Yeah.
It's like that. Those radio DJs who would do this skit that they had an agent, and the agent was talking to him, and he go, "Excuse me, somebody popular is on the phone," and kind of puts you down. But that's okay. I have ways to pump up my self-esteem.
Right. He's like, somebody else who's 10% amounts to a lot more is on the phone, so.
Exactly.
But, I mean, I do not completely understand what Speed's getting at, but that's because I do not know very little about this topic. But the whole idea that, like I said, that, yeah, their God could have set it up any way he wanted to. I mean, how do you argue with that? Like, I mean, it's just, they just claim that. There's no proof of it. I mean, it basically, it just goes into the realm of Sci-10 Bruggencate solipsism. I mean, like, well, how do you know that? Well, how do you know that? I mean, because it could be this, it could be that. How can you trust your reasoning? I mean, and they're right. They're right, because their God could have done it any way he wanted to. I mean, it's like last Thursdayism. It all could have been made last Thursday. I mean, You're just kind of backed into a corner where you can't do anything when you have people saying, nope, this guy lives in the sky. He can do anything. He made everything. He can make it look however he wants to look. He can,
Well, because he doesn't show any math, because he doesn't really have any data to support, he just has the claims of people he considers experts. And then I think all he's out to do is soothe an audience with cognitive dissonance. In other words, oh, I'm feeling bad. I want to be able to, overcome evolutionary arguments. Well, so he gives them claims to make that kind of soothes over that kind of cognitive dissonance they feel. I don't think it's about science.
Well, right. I mean, and it's for somebody like him. I mean, we see through his bullshit, but he uses all this terminology that, like, the average creationist out there is like probably listening to him, going, "Oh, wow, yeah, this guy knows his shit." Yeah, boy, that answers it right there. Yeah, I mean, they're probably like impressed with him and shit.
Tell me what's happening.
We're talking about how much shit you are at drawing alleles. Just kidding. I don't know.
But you do understand what I'm talking about.
If you repeat, maybe. I wasn't paying too much attention.
Okay. So you have 2 strands of DNA. Okay, so you can only have like sometimes you'll have duplicate genes, but not that's not all that common. So you've got one gene, right here. Okay, so it's just one gene, and you have in any one human being, you can only have 2 variants. So there'll be like a slight mutation, on this one that'll be different from this one, and that's called heterozygous. That means that the 2 are not the same, but oftentimes the 2 are identical, and that's called homozygous. Okay, so now if we have Adam and we have Eve, we can only have, so the created heterozygosity can only be 4 alleles. But now what he thinks is somehow if you stack them vertically, if there are a whole bunch of other genes out there, which we have no evidence of. I mean, we have no evidence that for every gene there are 20,000 variants, or what does he say, 20 million variants out there, and that somehow these genes get from here in the DNA down to here in the DNA. Okay, every DNA or every gene has a post office box, right? It has a location, so it's got its own address. Okay, and that's pretty much the way it works. I mean, they can move around a little bit sometimes under some circumstances, but for the most part, they have a post office box. And when you have recombination, what happens is one of these genes or one of these strands will be cut. It'll be moved over to this strand, but it never gets moved downward, right? That's what standing for truth. And these guys kind of are implying that they want you to believe, but they all fucking know better. They know it doesn't work that way. So I don't know what they're saying about created heterozygosity with 20 million variants. He's making it up. And he has to explain to me.
Won't that just bog down the gene? Like, he just, Standing, I love you, man, but some of the things you say give me a headache.
So is he proposing like a bigger, longer DNA?
Yes, kind of.
Something like
or
that.
a thicker, almost like 2 DNA strands?
Yeah. The other thing that could happen, instead of 2 strands, you can have, like in plants, you can have a total duplication. It's called polyploidy, which we don't fucking see. And, so you can have any number of strands. So you could have 20 million of them going this way. So that's what I mean.
Mythology again, and saying back in Adam and Eve's day, there were multiple strands of DNA, and those were all preloaded with genes.
Why doesn't he just okay, I don't even understand why. That's why I'm almost like believing that somebody who suggested he was a Poe, that could be possible, because why doesn't he just say what the truth of the matter is? Why does he concern himself with proving that his creationism can be melded with evolution? Why doesn't he just say, look, God made Adam out of fucking dirt and Eve out of his rib, so no explanation needed. I mean, I would have more I would have more respect for him if he would just like say what it is really trying to say, because that's what he and most Christians are saying. You can't fucking question what we say about God because he's all powerful. He can do whatever. He made Adam out of dirt. He made a donkey talk. So just all of you with your science, go to fuck home and shut up.
Yeah. But I mean, there's no evidence for longer chromosomes or extra chromosomes. So, I mean, either way, we don't have any evidence of any of that. So they're kind of making something up. And I don't know how in the fuck they think that we're just going to buy this. And and then when we criticize them, they say, "Oh, straw man." I don't get it. And I'm hoping like Brainbug, somebody who knows a little bit about genetics, got Erica, David, somebody come in here and back me up a little bit or straighten me out. I mean, if there's a way for this to work, I'd like to know what the fuck it is, because I cannot imagine
what the argument is without having to open up some creationist gene book.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to have to be a little more detailed about it. Now, they claim that recombination, but recombination, if you have a strand and then you have the other strand, and if there's, some differences here, right? If there's some sort of an error, these will cross over. So let's see. It's fucking not going to do that for me because this thing is retarded. But anyway, this could cross over. Okay. So that part of this strand gets copied onto that strand, and part of that strand gets copied over here, or this would get duplicated. So it could be recombination.
You're proving Stanley's point right now.
What's that?
Well, because that's an H, heterozygosity.
Heterozygosity. I get it. Yeah, whatever. Okay. No. Not happening. So, okay, this gene can basically cross over and, get duplicated. Okay, so that could happen, but that isn't going to save them, because these crossovers, basically, they happen at, did I draw that wrong? I probably drew that wrong. Somebody's here, Dak.
So,
okay.
This gene can basically cross over.
Oh, you're echoing.
Duplicated.
You got your sound on, Dak.
Could happen, but that isn't going to save them, because these cross.
You're playing the video somewhere along with.
Somebody's here, Dak.
You still are.
Okay. This gene can basically cross
I need to mute this thing.
Oh,
yeah, you need to do something. Okay, here we go, Dr. Dan. Okay, so the other thing is gene conversion, where every now and then one gene will be copied into another gene, but that's a little rarer, right, Dan?
A lot. That doesn't solve your problem.
Yeah, it doesn't.
We've got three options here, right? You can have a lot, your two alleles in Adam and your two alleles in Eve, and you could have lots of recombination, like lots of single point mutations in each of those four that can be very different from each other. And then you could have crossovers. Now, that doesn't solve the problem, because you need to generate more alleles. You don't have the time, because like the ABO blood group gene has over 1,000 different alleles.
Yeah.
Well, the rate of recombination is one crossover per chromosome per meiosis.
Yeah.
So, and that gene, the chromosome, I think it's on chromosome 15. Don't quote me on that. It represents about 1/5,000th of that chromosome. So you need to have 5 million crossover events on that chromosome in order to generate the 1,000 different ABO alleles. Well, you only have 6,000, really 4,000 years to do that because of the flood. It's not fast enough. You can't do it. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
So the alternatives are what you're saying, where you've got more genes in a row, like in tandem. There's no evidence of that. We'd see that. We'd see the remnants of that. Where did they go? Genes, like, they don't just vanish, right?
Yeah, but even with a crossover event, we've only got 4 to start with, right? So we only have, unless he's saying that there's another gene up here, and somehow it crosses over and gets moved. And that doesn't happen.
Gets us. That's right. That's you can have like unequal crossover events where there's like short tandem repeats and the chromosomes don't quite line up, and that's how you get duplications. But the thing is, there are signatures of that. We can see where that happened.
Right.
We see evidence of that. So then door number 3 is polyploidy, what we were joking about in the side chat, where you just say, okay, Adam has, a bajillion he starts with 1,000 N instead of 2N diploid, right?
Yeah.
One for mom, right? You could go with polyploid, where it's 1,000 N. And then, well, where did they go? Right? Because we need to have, why is everyone diploid right now and completely intolerant of aneuploidies, right? Because we don't do well with trisomies, except for the sex chromosomes, basically. So, like, where did the polyploidy go? There's no evidence of any of this. It's just completely ad hoc, just making stuff up.
We don't do well with trisomies, except for the sex chromosome.
Okay, we're doing it again. Somebody's doing it again. Right.
Sorry.
Okay.
I just working out my technical details here. I'm not used to this thing yet. I was in the wrong backstage, by the way. I used yesterday's link and didn't realize that wasn't supposed to work.
Oh, I should have sent you a link.
I was there for ages wondering, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah. Don't waste you time. I already asked John Maddox what you're trying to say. He said he was all saying it wrong.
I'm gonna scoot, but I just wanted to pop in for that quick thing. Like there's 3 options. You could either have 4 alleles and the recombination is too slow. You could have them in tandem in the chromosome, like Speed was saying. That doesn't work. There's no evidence of that because we can see where that happens and where one converts to the other. There's signatures.
But neither Jensen or Carter or Sanford explicitly say what they mean in those cases, so they haven't chosen one of those 4.
And then the third option is just polyploidy. Like as Speed was saying, you can have plants that are like 4N or 8N or whatever, and you just have more variants per person. Honestly, based on what he was saying in the video that we played earlier, it seemed like he was almost implying polyploidy, but I don't know if he was just being imprecise. Well,
yeah, and he's been corrected privately.
Except the extra chromosomes wouldn't just disappear over generations.
Yeah.
Right. Although to be fair, I could do a better job with that one than the other ones because you could put that. You could integrate that into like Behe's devolution kind of argument. You could integrate that into like a genetic entropy thing where you're losing variants over time. Like you could actually integrate that idea.
It wouldn't make sense, but hypothetically it could work. It would just be extremely unlikely.
It would be a more coherent model, let's say.
Yeah.
So the only way to
no evidence.
There's just no way to get from there to here because, like I said, chromosomes don't just throw themselves away.
Right. Exactly. There needs to be and we can see where there's degeneracy.
What would have more likely happened if it had went in the direction they're talking about, rather than ending up dropping chromosomes, it would have been more like a gene drops out of one chromosome, a gene drops out of another chromosome, and so on, and we would have ended up with a genome that had like thousands of really short chromosomes in it.
And the reason we know that's not the case is because there are animals that are degenerate like that. So the delloid rotifers, which is spelled with a B, it's BDELL-oid rotifers. They are degenerate tetraploids. So they have 1 diploid genome, 2 diploid genomes, but they're like a checkerboard where combined they get everything. Frozen. But each genome on their own is missing stuff, right?
Because they all evolve independently.
That's what it looks like when you lose chromosomes over time. You get this degenerate kind of mishmashing of incomplete genomes rather than one pristine gene. It's just a mess. But that's not what we see here. So it just shows that idea doesn't work either. None of it works. That's all I came in to say. It's just you do the math on any of them. And
I just wanted somebody to give me a sanity check on this because
they make me feel
they make me feel like I'm crazy when they
And the key thing from each of these arguments is that there are testable predictions that would flow from it. If they started polyploid, we would see degenerate genomes. If it was the linear thing, we would see the evidence of the asymmetrical crossovers and the conversion. If it was just 4 variants, we'd see much higher recombination rates. We don't see any of that stuff.
Not only that, but if the biochemistry worked that way, we would still be seeing it happen now, and we're not.
And we're not. We can measure recombination rates.
It doesn't happen.
It's about 1 per. It
It's
just
not
doesn't
that it
happen.
can't. It just doesn't.
It just
You know,
All right, I'm gonna duck out.
okay. The worst of
That's
this.
all. Thanks.
Okay, bye, Dan.
Thank you for that.
The worst of this is that I've had a private chat with Stanley, and he seemed to understand all this. So I don't understand why he keeps telling the same story when he seemed to have gotten it, unless he didn't really understand what I was telling him.
Cognitive dissonance.
I don't know. I'm not sure. It's
So,
like,
so who does this give an advantage to? He's very imprecise. His sources, the people he looks up to, don't really name what they mean by a created heterozygosity, because we have 3 options at least. And then he goes in to say, well, you guys are straw manning me. And we come along, and the only thing, or did I say straw or strong? And then we come in and say, no, you're wrong because of this. And say, well, I didn't do that. I meant something else. So I guess it gives him a way to wiggle out of criticism.
yeah.
Well, if I can throw a little analogy on that, if you consider a Rubik's cube, an unscrambled Rubik's cube, if someone's arguing that the cube is red, and then you point out to them that there's green on the cube, and they say, well, that's what I was trying to tell you. It's one color. It's it's only one color, and it's green, like you said. This is kind of the sort of thing that seems to be going on, that they've got an inability to look at more than one facet of something at a time, and whether it's intentional or not, I think it's probably not so much intentional as indoctrination does this to people. It gets them to focus on one facet of something and ignore everything else. And when they try to bring in another facet, it tends to cause cognitive dissonance, and they get very uncomfortable and would rather not think about that.
I'm looking for the papers that he cited to back him up. I mean, he could have at least cited papers from Jensen and his AIG crowd, but he doesn't even do that. Instead, he tells you about his fucking merchandise, and then he goes on with a bunch of little quotes that he apparently from Ernest Marr, and I don't know. It's just like that's all he's got.
Really quick, I finally heard something that I might be able to comment on and be interested in because I'm so stupid. But what merchandise does he possibly have?
Oh, he's got these shirts about. Well, let's go look. What the hell? We can go look. We have links. Let's see, new articles or merchandise. Let's see if it'll work.
If he's smart, he sells oven mitts.
Okay.
Could I say something about the idea of the longer strand of DNA model?
Yeah, that's ridiculous, but
well, just
go ahead.
An observation on that point. One of the genes that is known to have multiple copies in humans and multiple different alleles. Actually, it's more than one different gene, but one category of gene is genes that have to do with skin color in humans, and having more than one copy of those genes obviously has an effect. There are other genes as well, but that's just an example off the top of my head. There is an effect to having more than one gene, and sometimes the effect isn't even all that predictable. It's not just a matter of like, you got a gene for pink and you add another one to it and you get red, and you add another one and you get dark red. It doesn't necessarily work that way. Sometimes these things can be more of a butterfly effect thing, where you make a little change and some bigger change happens. But the thing is, my point is that with that sort of a model, Adam and Eve wouldn't have been human. What they would have been, I don't know, but they wouldn't have been what we would currently classify as human. They wouldn't have had our forms. What form they would have, nobody knows. There's just no way to know with our current understanding.
So we need to get some merchandise on our channel. They're selling some of these T-shirts for $21. These things cost about, I think, $2 in bulk or something. So their costs are like $2. Pond Scum the People. Here's a good one. It's really a good one. Anyway, this is.
I mean, the way they do it nowadays, Speed, is like they're made on demand. Like they don't even make a whole bunch of them.
Right.
When somebody
Yeah.
orders it, then it gets made.
Yeah.
Yeah, on-demand manufacturing.
Oh my God.
We'll let a
So-
Pond Scum the People.
Yeah, I want to buy some of these and use them on the range.
Use them on the range.
Yeah. Anyway,
Uh,
there it is.
Pond scum to people. I hate to put it so bluntly, but I think some people are pond scum.
Yeah, I think they still are.
Well, right over on Knox channel, he has a couple.
And a whole lot of people haven't evolved out of being primitive monkeys yet.
Okay.
That's bad mouthing Pond Scum and monkeys.
Well, I hate
I
God
did
so
say
much.
I did say primitive monkeys. I specified.
Don, you don't want to piss off Erica by making those denigrating statements about monkeys.
Yeah.
Not sure who that is, but okay.
Oh, that was sacrilege right there.
Oh my God! Look at Tangela Grassel.
So yeah, over on Rage's channel, he has a couple openings for when we go live, and one of them is Matt Powell talking about the Pond Scum to People, and I always say, I said several times after he plays that I'm willing to accept that Matt comes from Pond Scum, but not just
Okay. Do you see the invisible cricket in the palm of my hand?
What about?
I
Do
believe
you
it's
see the
there.
invisible cricket in the palm of my hand?
Uh,
Do you see it?
no.
No.
Then why do you hate that cricket so much?
I'm completely lost now.
God.
That was a
God.
response to
The God thing.
Grasshole's comment about
Yeah,
why you hate my
him so
God.
much. Yeah.
It's like, well, let him show up and we can get to know him, and then we can decide do we like him, hate him, dislike him, or whatever.
Well,
We don't hate
and
him. We don't know him.
You know, Tangelo Grasshole's a Poe, though, right?
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah. He's.
Poe.
Yeah. We don't know
Oh.
we don't know who he is. Okay. You got to
I
look
ain't worried about
carefully.
whether he is or isn't. Just responding to what
Yeah,
was
yeah,
said from
no.
him on there.
And I don't even have to wait for him to show up, but, because I've read the Bible, and if that motherfucker exists, I hate him already.
Yeah.
Well,
Although
the
you're-
problem is that their God doesn't exist in reality.
Well, let me
It's
say
even.
something about that if you don't mind. The God of the Bible, if he exists exactly as described in the Bible, is an impossibility. So if you want to say the God of the Bible, in some senses, like as described in the Bible, then the question would be in what senses. So if you met someone who the God of the Bible was based on, you still might want to get to know that person before passing any judgment, because
No.
maybe the story about them flooding the whole planet was completely a lie, and they might be really upset with people who believe in them for believing that they did such a thing.
Well, when I make my comment, I'm granting a few premises. One is I'm granting the premise that the Bible is the inerrant revelatory word of their God, as they claim, and that they are accurately describing.
In
the
which case,
Bible.
he's impossible.
I can't finish my sentence.
Or they think their God is nature, but they also think it's supernatural with intelligence somehow.
Yeah, supernatural nature, which is also impossible. But if it's a possible God, then it's not the Bible's God, because the Bible's God is impossible.
Yeah. Dirty Monkey Man.
I can't say there's no such thing as any God, but the Bible's God, exactly as described in any version of the Bible that I've ever come across, is impossible, and therefore it doesn't exist.
Since you showed the invisible cricket in your hand, I've been wondering, are there any religions on the face of the earth that actually worship a cricket?
I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, at
There's
least
so-
tens of thousands of religions, of very distinct religions that have existed in the past, and all of the thousands of religions that still exist now. Yeah, I don't know, but I wouldn't be at all surprised. I'd kind of be surprised if there wasn't.
There should be
So
firefly
does our-
worship, right? Cricket religion. I mean, there should
Does
be a
our
firefly religion.
oops,
Go ahead.
does our imagination exist?
Depends on what you mean by exist.
Are you summoning Danny?
That's something that the word exist probably shouldn't exist. What we should be talking about instead is it in a certain realm? If you're talking about in the realm of things that we can conceive, then yes, our imagination exists. If you're talking about in the realm that we walk around in and pick things up and you know, stuff like that, well, you're not going to find our imagination laying around out there someplace. Our brains generate it as they go. And if the brain shuts off, the imagination is gone.
Here you go.
Doesn't go anywhere, it just, you know, stops being.
We found a
Because
cricket religion.
it's an
We still
actively
don't have any energy,
generated.
Unofficial religion of India.
but you need a physical spot or thing to actually that has the energy to go through and acting
In India,
Yeah.
cricket is religion and the prayers are gods.
to know.
That's the game cricket. But
Okay.
yeah, I guess.
Oh,
Okay. I was wondering
okay.
about that.
Oh, God damn it. That ain't going to work.
Comes up in a web search, huh?
Well, so yeah, Google
But
has.
that's what I meant about. That's what I
Yes,
meant
but
about.
it
I
is.
would be sort of surprised if there isn't, because it's like that. I mean, it's like running a search for something on Google. You get a million results for something you might have expected you wouldn't get any results at all. You know,
Somebody
that's-
else has
that's the
to
reality
put it
we live
in.
Oh, wait a minute.
Internet
Brainbug
exists because of the people.
Brainbug is in the chat. So if we say anything bad about insects, he will be devastated and he will block us.
Isn't religion putting? If we had a cricket and religion, or wouldn't it put the cricket higher up? Because it's like worshiping it.
Oh yeah, yeah. But I know we have to be careful. Shepherd book of the series fire. Okay, no, we're not finding anything. Fuck it. Nobody worships insects. Damn, that's too bad. Anyway, so let's see. Oh, Maddox had a stream last night. That was another big dumpster fire, and I forget all of what happened there. Let me see if I can find it. Oh yeah, there it is. Something went wrong. What went wrong? I love when the internet tells me, "Oh my God, they made it private." What the hell? So he took his stream down from last night.
And
I
the
wonder-
other day, on Withstanding, I showed him the video that there was no first human, also, and he seemed like he didn't acknowledge it at all.
I wonder if he took it down because he showed Stanley's picture, and maybe Stanley did not mean to have his camera on. I don't know. I better make sure he's not asking me to take my thumbnail down, because he might. Let me see. Stanley sent me an email. Nope. Okay, why would John Maddox take his stream down, I wonder? Interesting. But he had his 8 premises up there. He's got like 8 premises, and the last one, I wish I'd screen captured them. I've got them somewhere, but it's just the dumbest argument ever. It's about DNA as a code, and he gets from that to there must be a coder, and then he declares God the winner at the end of it. But he's got like 8 premises, no argumentation, nothing to flesh out the inference to go from like premise 7. I forget what it is, but there has to be foreknowledge in order to make a code. He just pulls that out of his ass. And then the last one is, therefore, there had to be a designer, and he pulls that out of his ass, and then he makes his conclusion. So these guys think they're doing logical arguments, and what they do is they list like 7 little things that they believe, and then they put their conclusion in, and somehow they think that is a logical argument. And I think strictly it's valid, I think. I'm not sure, but it's not certainly not sound. Yeah, it wouldn't be valid because you
valid
cannot,
or sound.
but you can't derive the conclusion from the premises.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Could I bring up a hypothetical in that regard?
Sure.
Okay, imagine you took a picture of the sand on a particular sand dune in the desert. You know, whether you got it from really good satellite imaging or just walked up in person with a lens for taking real close-ups of something, and you took a close-up picture of the exact arrangement of grains of sand in a particular spot in the desert where no human had ever been before, and then you use that image to algorithmically generate walls for a maze or a map for a video game or something. So now those walls have been arranged not by you. You didn't pick how the walls were arranged. You just went and took a picture in the desert of sand. Okay. That those grains of sand, the positions of those grains in the sand, since it's a photograph, even the direction of the lighting, the shadows and highlights on those grains of sand, that all then is an encoding for the arrangement of those walls in that video game. So they're basically asking the question, who arranged those grains of sand that way to make that code?
Yeah.
It's the fine tuning thing, kind of.
Yeah,
you move one grain of sand, your maze might be entirely different. So what's the likelihood that it would have been in that exact arrangement? Someone must have put it that way, right? No, the answer is no.
Yeah, they can't imagine how those transfer RNAs and the proteins that load them could have possibly developed in a simpler manner. But if you look at the
reason why they can't imagine it is because they're used to thinking of things coming about like boom, like God said, let this happen, and boom, it was done. The whole world was created in like 6 days, and of course all those stars and planets out there took a whole lot longer than a few details on Earth, but they're used to thinking in that sense of everything has to happen quickly and simply and without an explanation behind it and without a process behind it, and so yeah, they're incapable of conceiving the idea of even that things develop the way they do, let alone how things develop the way they do. I mean, I've actually had people argue with me, in the sense of saying like, well, how if humans evolved from lower life forms, from monkeys, from amoeba, from amphibians or whatever, how did the male humans reproduce before the female human evolved?
Yeah.
Or how did the penis evolve? After humans evolved from these other. What you think your ancestors didn't have such a thing just because they weren't human ancestors?
Yeah, they don't know enough about chemistry or embryology or biology. All they know is this surface stuff on top that they've read it on AIG. And so to them, it seems
they might know a little about those things, but they can't put them together.
Yeah, they can't put them together. So, like Standing for, I mentioned this yesterday, Standing for Truth used to say that we have SpongeBob imagination. And he talks about imagination in science like it's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Imagination is how you apply what you've learned to a problem to intuitively understand what's going on.
It's a useful tool. You just got to use it right.
Right. Yeah, you can't just make any shit up you want, but so anyway. So guys, what else are we going to talk about? Goddamn, John took the video down. I'm really upset about that. There was 8 hours of good material there. He must have made a fool of himself at some point and decided to take it down. Either that or something to do with Standing. Top Dog, what's happening? Oh, TikTok.
Yeah, it glitched for a second there, I saw.
Okay.
For one thing, we can announce that Eric and Dr. Josh Bowen are going to have. I said Eric, Erica, and Dr. Josh Bowen are going to have a discussion on Gutsit Gibbons' channel.
When?
Tonight, I think it's 7 or 7:30.
Okay.
And
Well, Erica, you should plug that. Not that she needs my fucking help.
Well,
She's killing it.
I don't know of any other live streams tonight. I haven't really checked. So if anybody else knows, we can announce them.
Praise That I Am will have one, and Maddox seems to be doing a few. I wonder what happened to his last night. That is interesting that he took that. He's not one to take videos down. So I have to make sure that we haven't done a bad thing. God, I mean, we played Stanley's whole clip. What would we do? Well, he put it out there. God damn it. He put it out there publicly. So I think the cat is out of the bag. I don't know.
Well, this video over here is the part where it talks about how we can understand the process of growing slowly and stuff, and it's just like how the DNA DNA accumulates different changes, and you can see that. I mean, it'll take a long time to notice it in your the descendants and stuff.
Really good illustration.
I'll just play it.
There is a problem with the illustration, though.
Exact moment that a species came to be, because it never did. It's just like how you used to be a baby and now you're older, but there was no single day when you went to bed young and woke up old. Although sometimes it feels that way.
There is a problem with that sort of illustration.
You mean the linearity?
The linearity, yeah. I mean, it's nice for again, this is a question of can they put the stuff together. It's nice for illustrating one aspect of how biological life evolves, but biological life also reproduces, and so it will evolve down several paths at the same time, and then those paths split up and diverge into more paths and more paths and more paths, and so it's it's very difficult to illustrate that aspect of it.
Yeah.
And so it tends to end up in this linear form, or in a simple tree-like form where you've missed all those stages and you're just going, this becomes these, and it's really hard to put those together in an illustration, and some people can't do it in their heads.
Yeah. And then when you think back into prokaryote time, before eukaryotes, or even the beginning of the eukaryotes, there was so much horizontal gene transfer going on, and so much endosymbiosis.
Yeah, it's no longer a tree.
Yeah, it's not a tree
unless you count like a banyan tree or something. Yeah, the roots are all intertangled and growing into each other.
So what the hell did I link? I linked something. We're trying to find the link to get Gibbons.
What I'd like to see, that thing with all the cards, and you've got a few select cards showing. Okay, those selected cards could be like fossils along the way, and maybe the ones that are tucked down aren't are the ones that didn't fossilize. What I'd like to see is an animation of something like that, and then zooming away from that single line to where you see the line branches out at one point, and then that branches out, and where it stems from comes from another branch, and just zoom out until you can see the tree structure, and then then put the different things on the tree structure to show people how that fits together.
Yeah, I've got a couple
how
good
that linear thing becomes the tree.
I found two good illustrations from Campbell's Biology that I wanted to put up, but I don't know. I don't have the ambition to go look for them right now, but it shows the tree form, and then it shows the bush. The prokaryotic bush that happened. It's still happening today, undoubtedly.
Yeah, that's still happening in some kinds of life forms. Well, technically, it happens in all of them. I mean, for example, humans get viruses, and sometimes they become a part of our genome.
Yeah, and then there's a virus that's trying to kill us right now, and it's doing a pretty good job.
and chances are some subset of the descendants of modern humanity will end up with some broken copy of that virus permanently in their genome.
Yeah,
it's likely to happen.
PBS Eons did a video. I think it dropped today. about that exact subject, about one of the 50 million year old ERVs that got into mammals.
It's
very illustrative.
It also can happen, by the way, in the case of crossbreeding of different species, because two things being different species doesn't mean they cannot reproduce together and produce viable offspring. It means that it's unlikely. And of course, the farther back you go, the more distantly related they are, the more unlikely it is. But there isn't really a point where it reaches zero. I mean, the probability gets astronomically small if you go far enough back, but it never really reaches zero because DNA can combine with DNA. And so when you're looking at a monophyletic structure and saying, okay, for example, mammals produce mammals. Okay, humans are mammals. Humans produce humans. If humans manage to diverge enough, we'll have several different things that are each producing their own. But take, for example, a Chihuahua and a Great Dane. What do you get when you cross them? Well, you get a domesticated dog. There are different variations with different names. They call one of them a Chidane Dane. But the thing is, what you call the thing isn't important. It's a domesticated dog because its parents were both domesticated dogs. And if you cross that with a fox, you still get a dog. It's just not a domesticated dog anymore, even though there are domesticated foxes now, because domesticated dog is a specific category that doesn't include domesticated foxes, even though foxes are technically dogs. So the language stuff is a little messed up.
If you cross a Great Dane and a Chihuahua, you would either get a really pissed off Chihuahua or a frustrated Chihuahua, depending on which was the male and which was the female.
Yeah, you tend to get pissed off and frustrated Chihuahuas and Great Danes, and their puppies are domesticated dogs.
Maybe that's how pit bulls and Dobermans came about. Pit bulls and Dobermans.
That sounds like Lamarckism.
Ah, yes. Yeah. Anyway,
that does sound like Lamarckism there.
I'm just throwing shit out here.
By the way, that's one of Kent Hovind's big mistakes that I hope to address in the debate if I ever manage to get that thing. Is that he keeps calling Lamarckism Darwinism and calling it the scientific theory of evolution, and says that it's a religion. Well, it's a religion that he made up.
Yeah. I got to catch up on Grasshole comments here. I think she's a witch too. I thought Erica was the witch. They're both witches. Any female is a witch. For Grasshole. I guess.
Is she a good witch or a bad witch?
Can't quite see that on the screen.
She is witch, and she is working for devil. She wants make John Maddox apostate, and then she want them to slaughter the Antichrist with them. Okay. What else we got here? Pagan who with Math Swine? Oh, Math Swine. Okay. Anyway, we can end early today.
By the way, just for the record, Yahweh is a devil.
Really?
I'm just saying. Yeah. Well, because what is a devil? It's basically it's an evil, powerful, supernatural being, like an evil god. Yeah. And Yahweh is an evil god, so Yahweh's a devil. So if he's saying that someone's worshiping the devil, that's probably him.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure he's a Yahweh worshiper.
It does.
Projectionist.
I think even in the best rendition of Christianity, it appears that God is just playing with us. It's kind of like my cats bring in mice and they play with them for 5 days until the mouse dies of despair. And I think that's kind of what God did with humanity. He just basically created a bunch of mice to play with.
I could give a hypothesis. I could give any of several different hypotheses actually that I've never heard anywhere, but that I've contemplated these possibilities for ways that there might be some truth behind the Bible. It might have had some history to it, but the thing is, there's no evidence for any of them. They're just hypotheses, and they're hypotheses that would work, but we have no evidence for them. I mean, like, for example, what if what they're calling God wasn't an individual, but rather like a whole civilization from elsewhere, from not on this
Yeah.
planet? And maybe they didn't create humans like from dirt, but rather maybe they actually like maybe they helped with the formation of Earth the way it is by smashing one planet into another, because there is evidence that sort of thing happened, and then came back to mess with the evolution of life on the planet, and modeled our evolution after their own evolution. And again, you could do this, and you could say, well, this would fit the Bible narrative in some way. It would never fit it perfectly, because nothing can fit the Bible perfectly if it's reality, because the Bible contradicts itself and it's flawed in so many ways. But the thing is, even if you come up with a hypothesis that would make sense and that would fit with the Bible, it's just post hoc rationalization if you try to say that that's likely.
Yeah.
Well, Dak, I think you have a great novel on your hand if you would just not give it all away right now.
What is it?
I could make TV series out of it, movies out of it, not just that one, but a whole bunch. Like I said, there's more than one. Because I was raised Christian, so I was raised Christian, and I learned to read like as an infant. I mean, literally, I learned to read while I was still in the crib. So by the time I was old enough to sit on a pew, I was reading the Bible already, and that was just another fiction book to me.
What is the Jim Carrey movie where it's like a reality TV show where his entire life is a reality
Truman Show?
Yeah,
Truman.
That's what the aliens are doing for us, and evidence for that would be Trump's presidency. I mean, that could not have happened in real life, right? I mean, it had to be a reality.
I sort of saw something like that coming. I just didn't know who it was going to be, and we've got worse coming if we don't fix things. I've been trying since 1969 to get us the right and the option to vote directly against someone in order to avoid this inevitability that we're still in the process of, that will continue to get worse if we don't give people the option to say no.
Yeah.
It's not an election when you let people say yes or shut the hell up.
Yeah. Yep. Oh my God. What is happening in chat? Okay, guys. I want to end early today. Can we do that?
You're in charge, man.
Yeah, I think we'll end early today.
Have we bored you too much?
No. It's just that I've got a lot of things going on today. Is it like
end early?
It's like Friday, and I've got 2 hours to make some business calls before everybody goes home.
Oh, by the way, an update and why I was late getting in here. I did call up Kent Hovind. I tried to call his secretary first, and I wasn't getting through.
Steve?
So I called him, and Julie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so he told me to try a different option to get through to her, and I did get through to Julie. Julie says that the debate was never scheduled at all. Now, according to Kent, it was scheduled, and he said he was going to let her know. So we got something going on there. But
yeah,
she says it. She says it was never scheduled at all, and now she tells me that I have to fill out a form in order to get it scheduled, and I have to apply for that. I have to request that form by email, and we've had an email going, a chain of emails going between several different people, and I told her I can just put it in as a reply to that, and she said no, send it to her directly.
Right.
So I did both.
I think you're being jacked around, but yeah, this has happened before.
It looks and feels very much that way. Yeah. But I am doing everything that I can, to do this right and to jump through the hoops. And if they're not going to let this happen, that's on them. And I just thought you might be interested in an update and what the status of that is. It is something that I'm working on, and I don't know whether or not I'm going to be able to get them to go through with it. I mean, Kent has said that he will reschedule. Julie actually said that once I fill in that form, it will be scheduled. Once I send them that form, I don't know how exactly that's supposed to work, but and whether or not she'll hold to that. But
Yep.
yeah, they're making it more difficult than it needs to be, and but if that works for them, I'll go along with it. Like I said before, I'm trying to do this in as friendly a way as possible. I'll give him all the benefit of the doubt I possibly can, and believe me, I doubt him a lot.
I understand. I have been trying to sign up for a gratuitous root canal for a long time, and I can understand why you want to debate Kent Hovind. Anyway,
So did Ian Champ have to sign something like that or fill out a form, or
no.
so he hasn't done that?
But then the debate hasn't happened with Ian. He scheduled it, I think. But
No,
but, you know,
Dapper and Erica had to fill out.
I did send a direct message in Twitter to James asking him, "Is that normal?"
Yeah, I think it's pretty normal. So
So I don't
it's
know.
going to be a long road for both of you, both of you and Ian, to see whether or not this happens. But okay, we're going to end the show. Goodbye, cruel world. Everyone out there, thanks for showing up. This is okay.